Over the past few weeks, I've been working on my game's art. As seen in front of you now, this is a Photoshop file on regards to what different spreads are needed for the game. These are the primary spreads, I would say, and then other ones are down at the bottom, near not needed necessarily. So, as seen here, we have the main player design. Of course, for now, it's just in a pen style instead of pixel art. I will showcase my pixel art later on. The obstacle, as shown here, is about the idea that the officer will be drinking a drink, and then occasionally, when he puts his drink down, he'll switch direction to look the other direction while drinking. Of course, that's just a simple design. Can update it when I do the pixel art, but as it is for now, I need to just draw simple designs to showcase what I need. Next is like the miscellaneous items with the office table. I have an idea of how I will be going about drawing these into pixel art, but I'll explain that in a minute. Of course, next is the monitors, which there'll be three different hiding spots for when the police officer looks in this direction. Uh, and ignoring that, filing cabinets will be placed around to help with the platforming, so you'll be jumping from platform to platform to the exit. Um, of course, after you reach the office table, there'll be these shelf sections that you have to go ahead and jump across each different shelf. And moving forward, we go about the mood board. So, the mood board is a great way to showcase the idea design of a specific asset. It is great for you, but also great for the viewers to know how are you going to go about designing a character. Moving forward, we have the first pixel art design I have of the Boxman. So as shown here, it's an animation of his idol. Now, I have made two variants of these animations, one where it's bouncy and other where it's more of a straightforward squash. I did this because I wanted to see which one the players would think is better. That's why I made a questionnaire on regards to it. By now, the majority response says that this idle animation is best used for the game because it feels a bit weird to have a squishy box. Moving forward, we have my concept art of the game. Um, so in here we have simple abbreviations of what the game will be like and the gameplay where the character will jump and hit onto the enemies. This is the main villain of the enemy, the Twisted Engineer, and I will likely not have him in this project besides in concept art because I want to just do the first level, not an entire game. Same goes with most of these enemies. I doubt they will be appearing in the project, but in the actual game, they will likely be placed. Um, Moving forward, we have stuff like these, which I'll go on about later. Here's the enemies mood board about different robotic designs, simply following the Mega Man style things. Mega Man is one of the biggest games I'm using as inspiration towards this, simply by its story and its art style. It fits with my game. Again, Twisted Engineer, and here's the jump animation. This one did not get voted. Uh, the squash jump got voted more than the normal one, meaning this will be the animation for the jump. So here is the concept for the level. As seen here, you see most of the assets that I've already pre-drawn, and I've placed them into this level idea concept, where of course you start in the jail cell where the professor is, and you must climb aboard the table and while the officer looks this direction, you will go across, and if he turns around, you must hide. Once he faces the other way, you must climb on top of these shelves and go above him. Here is a safe zone where you don't have to worry about him, and then moving forward, you just go down, and as soon as he turns around, you rush down to the exit. There might be some extra hiding spots there, I'm not too sure exactly, and if this level is not fun enough, I will probably see if I can program an enemy to appear here in the level, because it's a safe spot from the officer, but also dangerous enough for an enemy. Here are some logo designs I had gone through. I went through the questionnaire to decide which one of these is most preferred. It's a mixed majority as of now, but later I will go about choosing the highest voted one. So, of course, this logo includes the main player, but in a different look compared to his actual in-game design. This one is just the box, but with the eyes in replacement of O's, and then this one is just normal. So here we have the walking animation that I have been going through different ideas and concepts for, because a character it has such a rigid body, it's hard to design his walking. Now we could do it so that his we have to do it so that his legs will go inside of his body as his jump will do. But the squashing and speed is something that I've been trying to figure out exactly. The majority vote so far seems to be that the slower walk is much preferred than the faster. But also, the more preferred option seems to be less of a squish and more of a walk, which I'll go and showcase later on. Here are the Professor mood board, as of course, it's basically how every other professor has been designing games in the past. I am going to be keeping it like this. Though I'm not sure if I will have to even do concept art of the professor, because, as of course, he won't be in this project, but I might if I have time. Stuff like the Twisted Engineer, referencing things like Eggman and others like Dr. Wily, but not in the design of Dr. Wily, but more in the design of Eggman. So that should be it. Moving forward, we come to show the pixel art. So as of now, you can see that this is the office table from the sprite work that I had made before. Now what I have done is simply, if I grab this and then I place it into the game, what I have done basically is I made a new file with with a short size, and I basically copied and pasted this, and I copied and pasted it onto a sprite. From there, I went ahead and traced over it. If I could do it now, new file. There we go. So from here, we basically draw over it. But of course, the other thing is to make sure that you squash it down so that the pixel can actually draw. And moving on like that, you have, and then going from there, it leads towards, of course, the texturing, the coloring, and the shading, all those things. I don't think I need to make any more changes towards this asset, because it is just going to be a still object. No animations are going to be needed for this. Moving on to things like the officer, of course, still using the design made in Photoshop, copied and pasted, shrunk down, and then redrawn, and then of course recolored. I believe I've done a great job in doing this design, to be honest. It's maybe simple, but it works well for what it is, and of course, if I click enter, we showcase the animation he'll be going through when looking in a direction. Once he puts his drink down, he will go on to a spinning animation as seen here, where he will basically be moved to the other direction, and from there he will be flipped and drink again. Going from there, we have the animations for the box bot. As shown here, of course, this is the idle animation as used for. This is the start and jump animation. So he'll go through the first beginning frames of getting squished, and then of course he will go through the final animations of launching. Moving forward, we have, of course, the new walking animation I'm going with, where his head bounces, but nothing else necessarily will squish. I believe this works well, and the speed is also pretty good with its 90 milliseconds frame data. That should be all, besides the sprite sheets. I will showcase this, and then I'll also showcase how I made them, because Aseprite is very helpful on getting sprite sheets. So if we go forward to here. So here are the beginning jump animations, the police officer, the end jump animation, his idle, office table, police officer spinning, and then of course the walking. Now, to showcase how I made these, it's rather simple. Aseprite allows you to automatically create sprite sheets thanks to the export sprite sheet option. Now, this option will just simply go ahead and create a sprite sheet, and you'll have to open it and export it. If I were to load the sprite sheet, we load this, and from here on out we go ahead and we will export it. But for my game to look as best as possible, I will resize it up to 1000% just to be big, and allows me to shrink it a bit more without ruining the quality on art style. Anyway, that should be all for what I've done for the past week. I have run into a few issues, mainly the officer. It's been a troubling task to get stuff like his spinning animation and his arms. I am not necessarily new. I'm new towards animating full bodies in pixel art, and animation in general is something I don't touch upon a lot. But going on like that, I believe I've done a great job in animating simple things. And then the spinning officer. This was a hard task because I had to plan the animation for the chair, and once I made the chair, I went ahead and did the police officer. Of course, as seen here, the animation of the design of the officer does not change besides his position. It's just a simple workaround that still works well if you run the animation. You can't really tell. And then, of course, I had to design a front view of the officer. If I had more time to work on this, I would flesh out the animations more. Like, of course, the second and fourth frame will actually be different from the first and fifth. But as it is, with the time I have left, I can quickly get this game done. And that is all that's important for me right now. I need to get this game done in a quick pace. And once that is complete, I will go ahead and also flesh out my site work. Speaking of my site work, nothing much has changed since the last recording made. but I will go ahead and next time on Wednesday I will do more site work as well.